Love can cut you like a knife and hit you like a crowbar. Rejected love can cut like a knife and feel like a crowbar across your head. And when you're rejected, you may go nuts. When love can cut you like a knife, you may be alone at night, which was written and directed by Jimmy Giannopoulos. I hope I pronounced that right. And also written by, had to write this down, Diomedes Raul Fernandez, who had something to do with a movie called The Birthday Cake. Nothing to do with an actual killer birthday cake, more than the pity, asylum executives furiously taking notes, and the stars Ashley Benson as Vicki. Oh, Vicki, you're so fine, the webcams blow my mind. Hey, Vicki, hey, Vicki, hey. Ashley Benson is most remembered for being on the original Pretty Little Liars, which is a show I only watched a little bit of, but I will certainly say they absolutely have a following. John Foster plays Max. Not Maxi Pad, not Max the, boy wonder from Hocus Pocus. No, nothing like that. Just John Foster. Foster, hooray, beer? No way. John Foster, Australian for beer. I'm just running through a whole bunch of jokes here because why not? Sky Ferreira, who really has a very unique look. Would like to see her in more movies. And this also has a man named Jake playing Jake Weary. So, boy, you want to talk about typecasting? Hey, Jake, you want to play a guy named Jake? Yeah, sure, I'll do that. So, Paris Hilton is in this hosting a quarantine-based reality show that's, I guess, like a show called Big Brother, is what somebody told me it was like, called Trap Stars, where they're trapped in a mansion. There are worse ways to live. The only rule is never leave the goddamn house. And also Pamela Anderson is in this as a very, very southern sheriff in California. Very, very strange. Okay, so this movie involves Ashley Benson's Vicki webcamming and making a living after being kicked out of her boyfriend's apartment. She is now isolating at a friend's cabin in California. And then weird shit starts to happen. Her friend Stacy says, "Don't worry, you just have to stay here for a bit. There's a couple neighbors, a nice couple with the last name of Daniels, including Max, that you get to meet a little bit later on, and they have a couple kids, but nobody's around for miles, and since it's quarantine, the pandemic, COVID, all that stuff, you have to be isolated. Because my parents are really, really scared of this stuff, so you have to be here for 8 days, and don't worry, everything will be fine, except it's a horror movie, so everything is not fine." Okay, first the positives. Well, it starts out fine. Actually, at first, I was like, all right, this movie might be all right. It's more of a horror comedy, playing up on the whole quarantine thing, playing up on isolation. And then as for the negatives, pretty much the movie falls apart in the second act and keeps falling apart and gets to the point where it just goes back in on its own ass with all the cliched slasher tropes and ends up just not being good at all. And there were a couple neat little ideas here. In fact, that's the most disappointing thing. This is a very disappointing movie because there were a few tonal issues. We keep cutting back to the Trap Star show. We find out a little bit later on why. And it's the favorite show of Vicki, and Vicki does all the webcam stuff, including for this one guy, Only One For You. Aha, creative name. And he has a piece of tape over his webcam so you can kind of sort of see it's all weird and, cloudy and whatever. It was like it was filmed on an N64 cartridge. I don't know how you would film something on an N64 cartridge, but nevertheless, he makes her do things and pays her a whole lot of money because he wants to make her his wife. Why? Why the hell not? But we don't know the guy's identity. Even though it's pretty goddamn obvious who the guy is. Once you first see this particular character, you know automatically who the killer is. And I will spoil that it is a guy. It's not a girl. They don't do that kind of shift. It's not like High Tension. Sorry, High Tension's been out for about 20 years. Sorry for the spoiler. Luis Guzman is in this. As a guy that does video chats with Vicki, but really doesn't do anything where she's dressing sexy. He just chats with her because he has relationship issues of his own. And he just chats with her. Kind of endearing. Actually, I would have rather seen a whole movie based around that because it probably would have been a whole lot better. So, yeah, from there we just have a slasher movie that could have been okay and didn't start out all that bad and then just completely fell apart and went off the rails on a crazy train. He's known as the crowbar killer, meaning he kills people by swinging Devon Storm at them. If you are not a longtime WCW fan, you have no fucking idea who I'm talking about. Yes, he uses an actual crowbar. And bodies pile up, and then we find out who the killer is, even though it's very, very obvious who the killer is, well before he reveals himself. And then everybody has to act really stupid and do stuff to limp this movie along for pretty much the last 30 goddamn minutes. This is 90 minutes. I think it's about 85 minutes once the credits start rolling. And it doesn't make good use of its comedy. In fact, there's such a weird tonal shift. Oh, we're at the Trap Stars set. Oh, we had Pamela Anderson acting all weird and hickish as a sheriff. And Pamela Anderson's gotten a bad rap. I'm not saying she's an amazing actress, but I think she got very typecasted because blonde and boobs, and may I add, boobs. But she at least had a little bit of fun in her role here, and everything else was just pretty much a mess. It was just a bunch of horror cliches, human centipede together and presented to us for 85 minutes and really, really messily. And unfortunately, like I said, any of the good stuff, any of the neat little, horror tropes that could have been played with and any of the comedy elements just kind of get thrown and blended together and put into a freaking sludge. And it's a slasher sludge. And it doesn't go down easy, and no matter how much you drink, it just kind of sticks there in your craw until you want to throw it up. Also, it's kind of funny how this is supposed to be taking place during quarantine, yet a lot of guys keep showing up. A handyman shows up. Jake shows up. Jake, who is somebody that has ties to Stacy. And not like that because they're supposed to be related. And also Max and other people. Just other people are here. Endless supply of guys. It's almost like a train is being run on Vicki. Vicki in training, as it were. That's kind of mean. Yeah, any of the good ideas just get basically wasted and it just falls back in on its own ass and all that. So now I'm going to get into spoilers. It's on Amazon for about $7.50 to $8. That's fine. I don't mind paying for it. I've certainly paid more for far worse movies. So there you go. That's saying it's not that good. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. It's Max. It's Max. He killed his family. He killed everybody just to be with her. Why? Because he's nuts. He also has a stutter, and that's why he tries to use a voice distortion thing. And other people get killed. Jake, at one point after arriving, catches Vicki when she manages to escape Max's clutches. I hope that the German Shepherd is all right. She crawls through this area where the handyman's dead, and because he had a bunch of cords and not a killer instinct. And then Jake tries to help her, tells her to go, and he gets a knife out while these headlights on this truck are staring at him. Is he going to stab the truck, get out of the road, and then you could probably see things? But no, he doesn't do that. Then part of the laptop ends up in the bathtub, part of Vicky's laptop, because Luis Guzman's character is talking to her. And now it's electrified, and the electricity keeps going out here because it's really, really weird and flimsy. And then it's all electrified, and then eventually, after being stabbed once, he gets stabbed again. He, too many pronouns, pal. Max gets stabbed again because he's a killer, because he wanted to make Vicki his wife, and then she shoves him in the bathtub. He gets electrocuted, and then that's it. And then we go to Trap Stars. The Trap Stars people are watching the movie. It's a movie within a movie thing. The movie thinks it's more of a genius, idea than it actually is, and it's not. I'm sorry. This isn't entertaining or horrifying or anything. It just ends up failing miserably. I was disappointed. I was very disappointed. It was supposed to originally be called 18 and Over, because that was the name of the website, the streaming service that was used, but it ends up being called Alone at Night. And honestly, either title wouldn't help save it because it just ends up being absolutely shit. Gets an F. Sorry. I mean, there were some couple neat little ideas. The cast did what they could. I'm not really going to fault the casting. I'm going to fault the stupid characters. I hope that the director, writer, and the other writer can go on to do better things, but this was a total misfire. Again, F. Agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.